All right, ABC, good morning. As your pastor, it is Wednesday. Get my watch updated here. Wednesday, April the 7th. Happy to bring you another midweek encouragement. Thank you to everybody who came out for Easter. Man, what a great service it was. We had a elders meeting last night. We were talking about how wonderful it was to have our front lawn full of people. Many that come regularly and many that don't. So for those of you who had family with you, thank you. It was great to worship with them, great to meet them, great to be seen. I've told you before, but if I could do every single service outside, I would. I love being visible in the community. I love using that great space that God has given us to worship Him publicly and let other people see that God's people live here, worship here, and kind of just be a public statement and invitation to come join us. But it was beautiful to dedicate babies. It was beautiful to baptize, for me personally, Lene, my daughter. But thank you for coming. It was a great service, and I hope to see you again a few days from now, this Sunday at church. Hey, wanted to tell you that for the next couple of weeks, our church rhythm is changing from kind of what it normally is. My usual rhythm as far as preaching is to pick a book and let's go through it. Started in John. Now these videos have become, walking through John. Switched to 1 Corinthians. Sometime in COVID, how do you live as a uncompromising Christian in a compromising world that doesn't understand the gospel and oftentimes is opposed to the gospel message. And we've taken breaks for different church calendar events. Christmas and Easter, of course, the big ones. Jesus' birth and resurrection. But in a couple Sundays from now, 2 Sundays from now, we're having a guest speaker, Mark Searing, our former district superintendent. And he's coming to talk specifically about missions. And he's coming to talk specifically about the work that they're doing internationally. So I wanted to take these couple of weeks and kind of step back from what we normally do and consider missions. It's something that's near and dear to the heart of Jesus. It's something near and dear to the heart of the Christian Missionary Alliance, our denomination, something near and dear to our heart. But we've been so overwhelmed the last year and some change just with everything that's going on that it really hasn't gotten emphasized very well or at all sometimes. And so that's what I wanted to. Sunday I'm going to preach more of a missions-oriented message. Mark's going to come the following Sunday. And these next couple of midweek encouragements, I just wanted to look at kind of God's heart for the nations with you, because like I said, that can kind of get lost in the sauce of just everyday life. I read Sunday morning at Lene's baptism, I read Jesus' Great Commission from Matthew 28. This is after, of course, he's resurrected and he gives kind of his last command to his disciples. And what he says to them is, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations. All right, there's some imperatives there. There's go, leave this place, and make disciples. Be about the business of making disciples for the kingdom, baptizing them, right? Converting people from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of light. And oh, by the way, do this everywhere, all nations. Do this everywhere. We see time and time again in Scripture God's heart for the nations, not for one particular group, not for one particular city. He is reconciling mankind to Himself. God so loved the world, that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever, right, anybody, anywhere who believes in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. One of our struggles as humans, I have the same struggle, you have the same struggle. One of our struggles is getting beyond ourselves. We get so consumed with things that are right around us, so consumed with things that immediately impact our lives, that we can go 50, 60, 70, 80 years, 100 years, however many years God gives us, without ever considering those that we cannot see, those that we do not meet, those that don't make the news, those that don't get talked about on the radio. And yet those who God weeps over because they are lost. Those who God calls us to go and to partner with. You know, all throughout Paul's letters, we see his joy. This is especially apparent in Philippians. We see his joy at the partnership of the gospel, that I'm going and you're partnering with me, you're sending me, you're supporting me, you're praying for me, right? So it's not that for us, it's that God says, literally get up from where you are and go to a different place. But for us, but maybe does God call you to do that? But for us, it's that God calls us to be aware and to be broken over all nations. You know, when God gives the Apostle John this revelation of heaven there in the book of Revelation, he sees this throne, and it's all tribes, all nations, all tongues, all around the throne worshiping God. So these next couple weeks, as we shift more of our focus to missions and what God has called us to do, I'm going to look specifically Sunday at kind of getting past ourselves in this work of missions. I just want to remind you that it's out there, that God's heart is for the nations. God's heart is not just for the United States and what affects Texas and what affects Harris County and Baytown and you and your family, that God's heart is for the nations, and God's heart is consistently weeping over the lost around us and the lost all around the world. So please seek God for what he wants you to do, to give maybe to the Great Commission Fund, to work at a garage sale. You know, if our virtual garage sale shifts to a physical garage sale, anything, to maybe take a trip. I know this is the worst time in the last, I don't know how many years of earth, to try to plan any kind of trip because COVID and all these other things. But nonetheless, our heart should be bent toward the nations. Our giving should be bent toward the lost. Our time should be spent trying to win the lost here and abroad. So that's my plea to you, is just take some time this week and next week and consider the lost. Consider those who don't know Jesus. Consider those who have no access to the gospel in different places, and all the work that's going on to win them. I hope to see you Sunday as we talk about this important subject. Hope to see you the following Sunday as Mark Searing comes and shares with us. And I pray that God will move and stir your heart to maybe turn off the TV, put down the phone, and spend some time reading about what's going on overseas. Spend some time praying about what God would have you to do, and then do it. And if you want to talk to me or anyone from the church about ways that we can do it, there's already conversations like that happening organically, and I would love to have that conversation with you. How can we get involved? What might God have us to do now in this time that's not just something that benefits us? So God bless you, church. Love you very much. Please consider that, and hope to see you Sunday morning. God bless you.